Hey, coming up, you got a man bun? Hey, you got a pompadour? You got an undercut? Today, we're talking about men and hairstyles over the years. This morning, get up, guys. It's time to get up. It's time to not hit the snooze button this morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Fred. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab where excuse...
Something negative comes up.
Building muscle pool, blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If the lady's saying that, you're doing.
You got those super.
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Is my sleep doing good? Is that it?
Down, 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 down. Good morning, guys. What's going on, nation? Here on the morning show. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Yes, guys, it's time to get up, roll over. You got the morning wood? You gonna use it? There you go. Hey, this is the only show to help you guys get your ass out of bed. Don't hit the snooze button. Listen, I'm Keith Bilous. Over there, it's C. Marty Fit. Yeah, the guy from Maryland. And over there, you got John Anderson. Today, we're going to spend some time getting to know you guys. You guys get to know us. We got AJ Zeglin joining us here at 45-minute mark of the hour. He's the mindfield expert, the mental performance guy joining us here Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We got some guests coming up in the second hour, but today we are here to dig into from the undercut to the man bun. I had a man bun. I had a man bun. We're talking hairstyles. I'm going to talk Marty's hair, Johnny's hair. Maybe we'll even get into producer Jimmy's hair. Guys, who talks about hairstyles? We do here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Let me remind you, this is a show where we tend to drop conversation, have conversation that might be uncomfortable for the children. Yes, so I'm going to invite you to either put the headphones on or walk them out of the room. Today, we got some fun topics. We are probably going to talk about sex. Yep. We're probably going to talk about kinks. Yep. We're probably going to talk about are honey packets good for erectile dysfunction, Jimmy. Oh, yeah, by the way, Jimmy, Good Time says good morning. He dropped a comment yesterday. Good morning, Shinku. Yes, I see you there in the comments. Jimmy, let's bring the boys in this morning. Let's see what the boys are up to today. Well, what's Marty showing there on the camera? What the hell is that? Oh,
That's a man bun.
That is a man bun, brother. How are you? Have you had a man bun before, Marty?
I'm showing you right here.
Dude, that's your hair, man.
This was 3 days ago. Yeah.
You couldn't, Marty. You couldn't see it on the vertical. You could only see it on the horizontal.
Oh, my bad.
The screen.
Yeah.
You got to put it. You know, we got to tell our guests to put their shit on the vertical because half the time they're sitting like this.
Yeah.
Our guests are sitting like this having a conversation. We can see like their left cheek.
Oh, I love that, Marty. Oh, so hey, today's a good time. The conversation, we're talking hairstyles. Marty, I'm really curious about hear from our brother Johnny and the hairstyles he has had as a young man growing up.
John probably had a flow back in the day.
Marty, have you seen young John Anderson? What a handsome
I haven't.
Oh, just
when you say young, how young are you looking, brother?
Jimmy, I'll get
John's still young.
John's still young, yeah.
Yeah, he's still young.
So I'm thinking, but Marty, you look at Johnny when he was on stage there doing some bodybuilding stuff, and man, the guy just handsome, chiseled face.
That was my last show was fucking 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm talking like when you were young, like when you're like in your 20s or 30s and you're all like handsome and shit. And that was before Terry, when you had the girls knocking on your door left and right. They're just like, hey, I gotta go knock on John Anderson's door.
Well, it's kind of a weird evolution because when you're young, you think yourself as hot, you're good looking. Now it's just like that shit doesn't even register. You know what I mean? When someone says, "Oh, you're handsome," I just think, "Fuck, that's so not part of my identity anymore." When
I know, right?
15 years ago, that was like, "Oh, I was waiting for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Johnny, we will keep giving that to Marty because we're just the uncles and grandpas here in the show. So Marty,
Hey, listen, man.
You can be the handsome guy, Marty. You now have the handsome moniker.
That's gonna be part of my identity in my 60s. So I don't know what I don't care what John talking about. I'm still gonna be handsome.
I'm getting at, brother, it's not that it's not there. It's just slides down the totem pole of importance. Is what it comes down
for
to.
sure. I can see that.
It's still there. It's just not. You just don't really pay much attention to it because you got your focus on so much other shit.
Understood.
No, I'll tell you. The last thing I'm gonna do is let myself go all the hell in a handbag. Fuck. Are you kidding me?
Well,
that's not happening.
No, we know that's not happening. No, and so
I hate that when somebody lets himself go. I mean, it's a sign that it's like they've lost self-respect.
I agree with you. Oh, baby, do I agree with you? It's a dad bod kind of. And listen, guys, hold on, gentlemen. We're not here to beat you up. No, because if anything, this is the show to help you get out of that space, frankly, not to dehumanize you and beat you up for being in that space, right, Marty? I saw some content you put up where there's some dude just beating on some guy who didn't have like a John Anderson physique or like a physique like yourself, and the guy was starting his journey, and there was some guy and there was some guy just beating him up, and you're like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, allow the guy to be on his journey. Hey, Marty?
Exactly. Yeah, man. Everybody starts somewhere, and the guy who's beating him up didn't start there.
No, exactly.
But let's set the record straight. If you love someone, it's your fucking duty to be honest. I've told multiple of my best friends, have some fucking self-respect. What are you doing to yourself?
Yes.
I love you. I'm here. Yes. I'm ready to help you. But you got to fucking take the first step. I can't get you. I can lead a camel to water, but I can't make that son of a bitch drink.
Yeah.
So fucking take a deep breath and have some fucking self-respect. Let's go.
And guys, it's the same thing for our wives. Boys, we all like to have the fit, attractive female. And again, let's just put fit in quotes. I don't care if fit. I really don't care what your definition of fit. I really don't care.
You know what, man? Not to cut you off, Keith.
Yeah.
Fit has different meanings, man.
Yes,
you know, a lot of people try to box fit into one thing, and it's not one thing.
I agree with you. But my point is, Marty, and I'm glad you went there, Marty, is that, you know, we all want to listen. Men are like, oh, I'm attracted to my wife in a certain way. But Mom, my wife has let herself go. She's not having sex with me anymore. Buddy, go look in the mirror, man. Like maybe your own self mirror is the reason why your wife's not fucking touching you.
Well, yeah, another thing too, you know, if your wife's all fucked up and she's not good looking and overweight, there's probably a good fucking chance you're the same goddamn way because you guys evolved together.
Boom.
You know?
Yep.
So John,
I keep my shit straight. Terry's gonna keep her shit straight. If I started to slip, she's keeping her shit straight. I got to step, and vice versa.
That's right. That's exactly it. Marty.
So John, what do you say to the guy that's keeping himself up in the gym, but his wife she's not even trying. She has no interest in it. What do you say to that guy? Because I come across a lot of guys in that situation. You just got
to keep leading by example. You got to keep leading by example because it's a trickle down theory. I can't tell you how many of my clients start off with just. Usually, what happens is when the wife takes a stand, it goes to the husband, to the kids. Once the kids are on board, the fucking wife can't. She's outnumbered at that point because usually it's just this fucking push pull thing. Doesn't matter if the husband's right. The wife is going to have a stance against him because these relationships get so, I don't know, they're so frustrated with each other because the way they live their lives, they take all their frustration out on each other. So one of them could have the fucking winning lottery ticket. And the other one will say, no, that's not it, you know?
Well, and here's what we know too. Good morning. Good morning, Enzo. We see you there in the future, brother. Haven't seen you around. Hope you're doing well, Enzo. Hope you're doing well. Listen, we missed you on the show back in October. Maybe you got some time to come hang out with us again here in the future. Here, I see Enzo's
starting a podcast.
Oh, there you go. Well, hey, I think we need to be on Enzo's podcast. Actually, that'd be awesome, Enzo.
I think we motivated him too.
That's fantastic. Here's the thing, boys. Here's what we do know as well, right? And let's just stay on this conversation about fit or healthy or well households. If we're all going on the journey, we're all succeeding together. I don't know, Johnny, Marty, but in my experience, if I'm going down the path and Lauren is not going down the path, it's probably a lesser likelihood of me succeeding, right? And it kind of goes both ways, right? So if Lauren's on her journey,
succeeding with your fitness or just as a man? Okay.
No, you poor mere fucking mortals. Jesus Christ, you know.
No, but it's true. It's true.
I mean, the average man, 100%.
Yeah.
But what we need to be as individuals is fucking locked in. I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And regardless of who comes with me, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to lead by example. And you'll probably want to come on board because you're going to watch how good I'm going to lead. That's the mindset we fucking need. And unfortunately, my wife won't do it with me. It is harder. Fuck yes. Acknowledge the difficulty, but acknowledge the fact that it can be done if you really want to do it.
Well, and what I like too, Johnny, with this whole conversation is how fulfilling it is. Right? So think about it, right? Go shopping with your wife, maybe cook dinner with your wife. Like you can reconnect over food and over a healthy lifestyle that maybe proposes longevity. So gentlemen, not saying don't sit down and have a glass of wine with your wife or go for a nice meal, but maybe it's just this idea of making different choices, right? Maybe that's just what it's about. Right, Johnny?
Yeah. And, I totally agree, brother. When it comes down to it, unfortunately, even in couples that really get along well, they're not always going to pick the same path, but don't let that deter you from doing a really good job at what you're doing, because it's only going to benefit her in the big picture anyway.
Yes.
And, so I guess what it comes down to, I don't like it when people have limiting beliefs because there's some sort of a barrier that most people have challenges with. Yes, there's challenges, but challenges are part of life.
Yep. Oh, I love it. My point is, it's just much easier when both are going in the same direction instead of one not. And that's all.
100%. And I guess what I should say to be real quick, I so agree. But everybody listening, don't let it be the reason why you don't start, because you don't have what you're looking for. You're not hearing the words. You're not getting the exact support you need. You may never get it because in your mind. Yeah. In your mind, you're waiting for something that may not even be real. You're hiding behind your own limiting beliefs.
Great point, Johnny. And if anything, Johnny, gentlemen or females, here's the show to help you remove those limiting beliefs. So if you discover us and you're like, hey, I'm not feeling supported within my circle right now, we'll come back here tomorrow morning because we'll support you. And then the next day. And then you know what? You can find myself and John and Marty all online all the time. So if you're looking for support, go connect with Johnny or myself or Marty, and we're going to help support you. The only morning show that is helping you guys achieve those big, audacious goals. Speaking of, so today, guys, here's what I thought we would do. Today, we got a few topics we're going to get into. We're going to talk about hairstyles over the years. I thought that was a fun topic just to kind of have some fun with here today, guys. Marty dropped a video we're going to run here in just a second here, Jimmy, before we go to the accountability check-in. I want to spend a little bit of time this morning creating some content to reintroduce our audience to John Anderson, C. Marty Fit, Keith Bilous, and AJ Zeglin. So we're going to kind of do a little maybe self-interview around the table. I do have a couple of fun topics as well today that I really also want to have conversations about. One of them is experts say these are the 7 sex questions almost everyone has, boys, but are too embarrassed to ask. And, this is the show that we talk about things nobody else wants to talk about. We're going to talk about that here today as well. And Johnny, I'm looking at you, pal, because Marty is still on the upside of life when it comes to this. But hey, gentlemen, are honey packets good for erectile dysfunction? There's natural.
Hold on. Are they good for erectile? Like you're going to eat it so you can't get a good boner? No, I don't know who would use it.
So you can get a good.
So good to get rid of it. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to get a good boner, right, instead of using maybe Cialis or Viagra or one of the medical ingredients, you might want to try honey packets. So we're going to throw that on the table here in a second.
My first gut reaction is I think that's like giving a fucking whale a Tic Tac, man. That's such a small little fucking piece of the equation. You can fucking grab a hold of that as much as you want, but ain't nothing gonna happen.
I guess it depends.
That thing's gonna be as fucking flaccid as it was before you drank the fucking jar of honey.
Yeah, man. Drink some water, man. Do some cardio. Get your nutrients.
Get some fucking exercise. Get the mental theater rolling. Picture that thing going in without a bend.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that bend is. If your blood
fucking dude's drinking the honey, got the bend, man.
If your bloodstream is full of chicken grease and French fry grease, that's what happens. So you gotta get some hydration, fellas.
Oh my god. Jimmy, let's do this. Let's go to the accountability check-in, and then we're gonna come back to Marty's video he dropped.
That's what happens when it's go time, and your bloodstream full of chicken grease and French fry grease.
That's the trans fat circulating in the bloodstream.
Oh my God! You guys get the hell out of here! I got something I got to do. Oh man. Boys, 5 minutes. No, we're not talking about sex. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to get ahead. No, I didn't say that's all it takes to get ahead. No, that's not what I said, Jimmy. That's not what I said. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to get ahead. Not to get head. No, to get ahead. What camera am I looking at? Leave the honey aside. Here's how you can get ahead. Not. Sit down. No distractions, and ask yourself 2 questions. Just 2. 2 questions this morning as you get yourself started today to get ahead. What must get done today, and what am I avoiding? Yeah, what are you avoiding? What are you avoiding today, you guys? Because then ask yourself, if there's only one thing you could accomplish today by getting ahead, what would it be? Jimmy, what would it be? Not 10 things. No, not 9, not 3. 1. One outcome that actually matters today. What is it? Is it working out? Is it going for a walk? Is it getting your sleep in? Hugging your kids? Having sex with your wife? Because listen, 5 minutes of clarity today is going to lead to 5 years of progress tomorrow. Listen, this is not a hack. No way, babe. It's practice. Yeah, it's actually called practice. You do it over and over and over and over and over. You have results. You have success. And what happens with success? You gain confidence. So if you do this regularly, you're going to build focus. You're going to build accountability. You are going to build habits that change your life. But here's the reality, you guys. Here's the frank reality. Most people aren't going to do it. Yeah, it's true. They're going to keep reacting to life, reading tips, reading recommendations, instead of actually doing it. So ask yourself, are you most people, or are you one of those who are going to get ahead of most people? Ask yourself that. This morning on the accountability check-in. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. Oh, Jimmy, let's get the gang back in. Let's run that video. We were talking about getting ahead, Marty.
I heard that. You're crazy.
Oh, Jesus, Murphy. All right, Jimmy. So listen, let's run that. I'm trying to find Jimmy's chatter here. Where is he? There's Jimmy there. All right, so Jimmy, let's run that video from Chad Ocho. Marty, first of all, Jim, before you run it, Marty, set it up for us, pal. I haven't watched it, Marty. I saw you drop it. I ran it for the first 3 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good because just the way that Sharp introduced it. But Marty, what's it all about, pal?
So pretty much Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, they have the Nightcap show together, popular sports show. And Chad Ochocinco's wife just left him. She has a podcast. No. She has a podcast. And Shannon Sharp signed her podcast under his media company, pretty much. And so they're on the show arguing about it. So, I thought it was a joke at first, but I actually think it might be real.
Say, is that real? I'm gonna say that. That sounds like
real.
It's not kayfabe.
That sounds like a fucking stunt to me, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's kayfabe, man.
Yeah. Jimmy, let's run it, pal.
Because Ochocinco, if he's got a pair, he's going to stay, even though Shannon Sharp is twice his size, he's going to stand up and fucking do something about it. He's not going to sit back and fucking take that. At very least, he'll run his little mouth. You know, he's good at that.
We're about to see him run his mouth.
Let's do it, Jimmy.
Business. And when you run a business, you do what's in the best interest of the business. Ocho?
Not really. In the best interest of the business, we're a partnership. You and I, we started Nightcap. If we are partners, anything that has to do with something that was a part of my life, which is including her, and she leaves my life, that means she's no longer a part of what I have going on. That's including Nightcap. So just because you and I, from a relationship, from a football relationship to a business relationship, if she decides to leave, me in my life, that means she's gone. So you my dog. So that means
I did say that. Well, I remember saying that, Ocho. I remember you and I had this conversation.
You said that. So you're not even standing on business about what you said and how you live based on your morals and the way you operate.
Right. I lied a little bit. Ocho, this business. I'm trying to make money.
Wow.
Don't you want to make money?
Yeah, I want to make money, but listen, all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. That's something that you didn't have to do. As a matter of fact, if you were going to do something like that, you know how I felt about the situation already. She left. She left. So if she decides to leave me, to sign her and not even run it by me and let me know something, give me a heads up, give me some type of warning, let me know, hey, listen, I'm thinking about
Ocho, I signed Rail and her girls to a contract. I'm letting you know.
Here you go.
Wow. Wow.
I can't.
They're selling the shit. They're selling the shit out of that. That's for sure.
They are selling it.
I can't disagree with Ocho Cinco. Like, really, like, if my wife is divorced, she's not part of my world anymore. So what the hell so it's like you guys signing up my ex-wife and bringing her part of our business here. I'm like, what the hell you guys do, man? She's not my world anymore. So I can't disagree with that.
Well, so here's an interesting thought. We've seen those two duke it out on other shit. So every once in a while, you have partnerships who they stay together because they're fucking make money, but they really don't like each other.
Yes.
If this is what it's come to, I believe it. If that's their dynamic, then I believe it. If they're really going to dinner together after the fucking show, then I think it's a hustle.
That's a really good point, Johnny. And
that's a great point.
That is a good point. Because I've noticed, because I like to whet my appetite with some just reality garbage every now and then across the television sets to keep my mind loose and light. And there seems to be a trend in reality content these days about humans that are getting divorced or having marital problems. But Johnny, you're right. Because distress sells, eh? Like people, like conflict sells. So for example, if all of a sudden we didn't like each other and people started enjoying that, we're probably going to lean into it, right? And it's unfortunate, but there's truth to that, isn't that, boys? That's really is. And
we would probably grow more if we were in here selling the fact that we all thought each other were cocksuckers. Then, if I was truly digging on you guys in a non, loving way, in a non-productive way, that's far more interesting to people than actually trying to promote people with positivity. I mean, granted, the right people show up for this, but everybody shows up for the raunchy shit.
Yeah, it's so true. Speaking of, actually, I found myself, Marty, I watched that McMahon documentary a few weeks back, and I was served up because Netflix knows what we like to watch. Johnny, looking at you, pal, I was served up the recent documentary on our good hero, Jerry Springer. Remember that guy, Johnny?
Oh, yeah.
I know Jerry Springer, too.
Dude,
that dude was like, talk about everybody on the freaking planet tuned into that guy, and it was all because he was uncovering the fucking nastiest shit. Like, can you fucking believe that?
Yes.
Like how these people were sewing themselves together with doing stupid shit to each other was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I bring that up because that was exactly the point of the show.
I gotta watch that.
The more shit that they created. The more conflict they created on the show, the better the ratings that went up. And there's just a good example of, back.
I was a young entrepreneur when that show was hot. And I used to feel so disappointed with myself when I would watch that. I'm like, what are you fucking doing? This is getting you nowhere. But it was like this fucking vortex. It was like, God damn it, man. You'd hear people at the gym, oh, God, I got to hurry up and get home to watch Jerry Springer. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. But, it's awful, but I fell victim to it as well. Oh, Jesus.
Johnny, I fell victim to it Sunday night. I was having some dinner. I threw it on. I was working. I had it on in the background. Next thing you know, I'm like, holy fuck, man, I'm getting sucked back in. Feels like I'm 20 years old again. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I'm happy to report now that stuff just doesn't interest me because it's like so far off my radar. But before, when you're young and you don't realize that shit like this happens,
Yes.
Because after college, I purposely put myself in a really fucking expensive place to live because I figured if I can keep my head above water here in this fast career, I'm going to be fine. So there was none of this there was no nasty shit floating around. It wasn't like the neighbors were doing this crazy stuff. You had to go to Jerry Springer to find it. But it was like, dude, it was.
Well, good morning, Amy. I see you there in the comments. Good morning, Adam Holroyd. Good to have you here this morning. Listen, Adam, you got to get up earlier, man. If you're stuck at work, brother. But I'm glad to hear you. See you in the comments here this morning. But boys, I tune into some of this ancient stuff, this vintage content, because we make a vintage radio show or vintage show. So it's good to lean into things that largely repeat themselves. And it's great because conflict is repeatable. Back to Shannon and Ocho, right? It's a conflict. People want to lean into conflict, right? So, all right. So listen, I got a couple things before we get into the hairstyle conversation here. Boys. Oh, hey, Johnny, for you, Marty, for both of you guys, meat. John, I saw your little Instagram piece yesterday where you had that big flank steak. You're like, yeah, you can cut this up into, was it ribeyes or tenderloins?
That was a tenderloin. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, when you guys make your steaks, how do you guys tenderize them? How do you tenderize your steaks when you cook them? I got a hack for the men who are tuning in right now that might be looking for a different way to tenderize their steaks today. Johnny.
Let me explain. I got a video coming out on this, but so check this out. We didn't film the process of making it, but we finished the end process. So take a flank steak, like a long piece, right? You pound it out with a mallet, so it's real soft. Then you put prosciutto in there. Then you put some Swiss cheese inside of that. Then you fucking roll it up, and it turns into this big fucker about like this, right? Whoa, and then you tie butcher string around it. And you barbecue it really hot on both sides for about 5 minutes. And the inside is like fucking raw. I mean, it is so, oh my God.
Dude, that sounds
really Terry
it's
taught
got
you
the
that.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't make that motherfucker.
Terry taught you that.
So we know that tenderizing meat, we often do with different ways of tenderizing meat. We'll often use lemon, vinegar, white wine, mustard, and so forth. But guys,
let's get this straight real quick, just so everybody understands this.
Yeah,
there's no wrong way to beat your meat.
Jimmy, there's a soundbite for us. Amy Reinhardt's tuning in right now. Her ears just shot up. She's like, "Oh, yeah, it's true, Amy. Not a right or a wrong way to beat your meat or to marinate your meat." As we're talking marinating,
or soak it with someone jumping up and down the fucking bed. I don't think anybody has a fucking clue what that is. That goes back, Marty. Why don't you explain what that is?
I'm not explaining shit, but what I'm thinking is you could probably marinate it the wrong way though.
So there is a science to marinating meat, but guys, you ever thought about marinating your?
Well, I'll tell you. On a serious note, you know what makes the marinade really fucking good is citric acid. You got to put citric acid in there.
Well, so
tell you right now,
we're talking.
That's serious. You don't want to beat your meat with citric acid. You want to marinate your meat with citric acid. Let's be straight with that.
What I say you could marinate it the wrong way. I told you.
Or you might want to marinate your meat with yogurt. Have you ever dipped your meat? Have you ever dipped your meat in yogurt? Johnny, have you ever dipped your meat in yogurt?
No, but I think everybody gets a little yogurt when they beat their meat.
What?
Because
look at Marty just leaves, dude. Look at Marty. This must be white guy humor. He just left the room.
There's lactic acid and calcium do the work when you marinate your meat in yogurt. So, gentlemen, if you're looking to have some meat today, you might want to pull the yogurt out, and you might want to marinate.
I hope none of my friends are watching this. They're gonna be like, Marty, what are you doing with them white dudes, man?
That's what I told him. I say it was the white dude humor.
Now I know why Marty doesn't want to tell anybody about his morning commitments. He's like, fuck man, I can't tell anybody I'm hanging out with these old fucking white guys joking about meat and yogurt and.
Marty's sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ, if this is what I got to do to make my millions, I got to be like these two fucking old white guys. Jesus Christ, he's rethinking being wealthy,
Well, I'll tell you, the numbers just keep going up here.
Selling my soul at this point.
Oh my God!
No, I'm playing.
Okay, so listen, Marty, you got something to say for fitness that has nothing to do with head or nothing to do with meat or nothing to do with honey packets. Do you have something that might be just safe for the audience?
I don't know. The fitness tip might be D-Day. I don't know.
Maybe the fitness tip is
know.
Let's go a little deeper into the honey. How do you get the boys a diamond cutter?
Yeah. So listen, Marty, you get your. We're gonna go back and keep this thing running, man. This morning.
I don't know. Yeah, I might have to switch it.
Let's do it, Jimmy. Get us out of here.
Yeah, get off the stage, guys. Get out of here. All right, my fitness tip has nothing to do with that. All right, but anyway, let's get serious, man. Stop avoiding things in the gym that you don't like. So that could be different things for different people. So if you don't like leg day, that doesn't mean you never, ever do leg day and you're only doing upper body. And I don't know if there's any ladies watching. If you hate upper body day, that doesn't mean you skip upper body, only do legs. And my people that love lifting, damn sure it doesn't mean that you skip cardio, okay? If there's something that you dislike that much, that means you need to do more of it. And it's probably going to help your fitness. And not only is it going to help your fitness, it's going to help your mindset as well. It's going to help your mental, right? That's going to give you the courage. It's going to give you the discipline to do things that you don't feel like in life as well. So you can't just sit here and skip things because you don't like it. And you're going to get a benefit from it, especially cardio. You got to work your heart, right? You got to put that heart under some stress, and you're going to get benefits from that as well. So don't skip things just because you don't like them. Everybody you see doing cardio doesn't necessarily feel like doing the cardio or like the cardio, and everyone you see lifting weights doesn't necessarily feel like lifting weights. All right, there are things you can do that you like, but sometimes you just got to get uncomfortable. That's the fitness tip for today.
You just have to get uncomfortable. That's what you got to do to get ahead.
I'm not going to lie. I got thrown off, man, with that last segment. I got thrown off with the fitness tip because time flew by so fast. I'm like, oh shit, I got to do the fitness tip. I didn't even realize it.
I know, because I'm like, holy smokes, Rob.
I didn't even realize how much time we had left.
I got a stack of topics here that I'm like, okay, I guess this one's not being talked about. This one's not being talked about.
I was not ready, man.
Are you quick? That's like a behind the scenes question here. Are you just coming out with that off the cuff, or do you have something? You got something prepared?
Off the cuff. Off the cuff.
That's the way to do it, baby. That's me too. It's just like sometimes I'll hear that fucking music. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I better put my thinking cap on.
I was not ready.
Honey packets have gained popularity, boys, as a natural remedy for erectile dysfunction. Gentlemen, ears perk up here. Often marketed as a quick and effective solution, these packets combine honey, Marty, with other natural ingredients like ginseng, macro root, or tonkat ali. Advocates, they claim that these mixtures boost libido, enhance stamina, and improve overall sexual performance. There's a team at this magazine where I found this, Generation Iron, broke down what you need to know about honey packets and how they stick up against the modern supplements and so forth. So the question really is, do honey packets improve sexual performance by improving energy levels and circulation? Guys, what do you think? Do you think it does work or not work? And I'll get to it in a second.
I think what it comes down to is you got to ask yourself, what type of an increase of performance are you looking for?
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for a fucking major step forward, my gut tells me ain't going to be in a goddamn packet of honey.
Yeah. And the results of this article very much say, well, honey packets are good. You also have supplements like such and such, which are advanced. But the reality is, gentlemen, they might work, but like John said, they might offer a natural, convenient, and affordable option for those seeking a quick boost in sexual performance. However, guys, unfortunately, their performance and their effects are often short-lived and not scientifically proven. Rick Kletke. Go, Rick, I just see you joining us here. Yeah, we're covering it all, Rick. We're talking ED and honey packets. So, guys, if you're looking to have some sex with your wife today and you're thinking that you're having some struggles getting the blood flowing, don't go to the honey. Go to your doctor. It's a true story.
You know, one of the things that I'll just talk about myself in terms of what was probably one of the biggest helps for me when it came to getting a good piece of fucking wood.
Yeah.
Was literally learning to fucking be present in that fucking moment.
Boom.
Because
me too.
How many times you get in that and you're fucking worried about this, you're worried about that. Next thing you know, you're worried if your fucking cock's gonna get hard, and it's like, holy Christ, all this fucking worry, ain't nothing good happening with that.
No,
you know,
it's true.
Check that shit. Check that shit at the fucking door. You know, and literally immerse yourself in what is happening, and you're gonna be just fine.
And you know what, Marty, go ahead, please. Yeah.
I was just going to add something real quick. Like I said earlier, get the chicken grease and French fry grease out of your bloodstream.
Yes. And,
you know, if I'm single, I don't live with a woman like you guys. So, you know, I could pick and choose when I partake in those activities.
Yes.
But, like, if I'm stressed and I got a lot on my mind and there's a chance of that, I'm not even putting myself in that situation.
Pass. Yeah. He's going to have a bender. He doesn't want one that bends.
We don't need that.
He wants that. He wants that thing to cut glass. You know.
Yeah, I got to drop 40 every time I step on the court. So yeah.
But I can relate to that, Johnny. I got the exact. I have the exact same scenario to replay with you, Johnny. There, because you know you're right. If you go into the bedroom and your mind is not there, guys, it's not going to work. So, and you know what? We always talk about, listen, we live in a world where it's like, oh, performance, pornography. We get caught up in shit. Guys, just settle down, man. Take a deep breath. Go to the gym, get your sleep, eat good food, love your wife. And hey, Klutke, shit's going to happen. Right? And the truth is, though, if as you get a little older, things aren't working, we do have choices, which include our doctors. So I would not discourage you from having that conversation as well. Johnny, I had a guy connect with yesterday who was 60 years old. He's like, hey, are you making content for guys like me? I'm like, yeah, because my co-host and I we're going to be you one day. So while we don't necessarily make too much content for our 16, 70-year-old friends, I know that as we keep making this show, we got 60-year-old men, Johnny, that want to have that morning wood.
But I literally believe that if a 60 or 70-year-old man started to implement the stuff we talk about, I think it would be a complete game changer.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few things. There are a few things that he might have to take a little bit of a grain of salt, like we talk about certain vigorous types of exercise. But I can't tell you how many guys in their 70s, I even had in their 80s, that I got, you know, lightly deadlifting and squatting, and it completely changed their quality of life.
Yeah, I agree.
The key is just to learn how to do it with someone who knows. Teach you to do it. It's not going to hurt you.
Bingo. Yeah, because I don't subscribe to these mentalities. Oh, you shouldn't be squatting when you're in your 50s. You don't want to be doing burpees. No, do it with somebody who can do it properly. Go learn from John Anderson. See Marty Fit. Go learn and do it properly. Jimmy, let's go to the hair conversation, brother. Let's bring it up. So guys, I'm going to start this conversation about hair. So I love my dad. Dad, if you're tuning in, I love you, brother. But my dad, you know, growing up in that era back in the 1800s, Marty, where hair was like a thing, right? So my dad was always like, you know, my son can't have long hair. My son can't look a certain way. And it was kind of an issue for us. And there was many times where boys, I would, my high school where I went to was a vocational high school. They had hairstyling salons. So it was not uncommon for me to go on the weekends to get my hair in cornrows and braids. I had nice long flowing locks, and I'd get my get it all braided up and then come home, throw the old toque on so my dad wouldn't see, and go party with my buddies all weekend, and then take it out on a Sunday night. But hair has been a thing.
No shit. So you do it just for the weekend?
Yeah, just for the weekend. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay.
Trying to move the needle, right? But hair has been a thing for us men. So Jimmy, let's pull the gamma up. Let's have a fun conversation about hairstyles along the way. Marty, let's start with you. So let's bring it up here, Jimmy. Let's see what we got here. So we're going to explore the evolution of men's hairstyles. I'm thinking Rick Klecki. Rick's been on the show before too. I wonder what kind of hair Rick has had along the way here. So let's have so you can absolutely look at timelines when you watch movies and when you watch television, you watch this content about how hair has changed, especially for us men. And you look at some of these undercuts, the fade. Johnny, have you ever had the fade before?
You know, I think I've always pretty much had short hair because, you know, funny enough, my hair got a little, like on the sides, it would get kinky, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't really, I couldn't really brush it back. It would kind of do this on the sides. So I always kept the sides really tight.
Oh yeah,
that's what I got. The fade.
Yeah, see, Marty's got a nice little fade on his side there, and he's got a man butt in the back there, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I've enjoyed seeing the different styles of hair over the years here. So let's keep it rolling there, Jimmy. So we got the fade. If we got Tommy there, I'm not sure if it's Jimmy or Tommy. We got the Quiff and the Pompadour. Remember the Pompadour, guys? I know Klitke knows the Pompadour because Ricky's a 70s kid here. So Rick's like 70s. So I look like I could have played in the Allman Brothers. Then my sister and I got a Jerry curl one night and went on a double date to see Cooley High. Oh my God, we're talking ancient times here. But remember the Pompadour? Marty, do you know the Pompadour? That hairstyle back from, you weren't even around yet, actually. No.
Nah.
The Pompadour would have been equal probably to, I'm thinking in the black culture, like the big afro, like the big fucking ghetto afro walking around like with the ghetto blaster.
Something like that, maybe. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. We don't ever,
big pompy afro, right?
I never heard that term in my life. The Pompadour.
Yeah.
I never heard that. Never heard that.
I haven't either. It's a new one for me as well.
Yeah.
Johnny, remember the Stray Cats? You remember the Stray Cats? You remember the Stray Cats, Johnny? The band, the Stray Cats. They had the Pompadour, the big hair, right? The big fluffy hair, and And then
that was kind of like that came out of like the 50s and 60s. Like
Richie Valens. Yeah, exactly, right. Richie Valens and so forth. And Rick Klitke, my dad wore a Pompadour. Right, so and let's keep it going there, Jimmy. And then we go over to the hair.
What would Elvis's hair? Would Elvis has been a Pompadour too?
Oh, Elvis probably had a little bit of a Pompadour, yeah. Then he had like almost like a quiff, like a quiff and then a fade. Elvis, that's a good one, Johnny. He had a ton of different hairstyles, eh? When he was in the military there, he had a buzz cut. Then I think he had a Pompadour. And then, boys, remember when the man bun came out? I do, because I had a big man bun for a while. I was in my 40s. I grew a big man bun there. I had long hair, shaved sides, and rolled it up top there. And then if you scroll down here, boys, the buzz cut. The buzz cut was really something that my old man really was hoping I would always live with, which was the buzz cut that I did not spend much time having on my head. Let's keep it going there, Jimmy. What else we got here for men's hairstyles? The shag and the curtain bangs. Oh, yeah. 70s and 90s got the shag. And then, of course, you got the suitable hair types as you kind of go through society here. Let's keep it rolling there, boys. And then I do remember back when music and rock and roll was big there. Remember hair metal, Johnny? Just from California, like Motley Crue and Poison and Rats and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
All that old hair, all those hair metal bands. All the long hair, that was a big old thing. And then Marty, that would have been very similar to back when rap and hip hop was making a thing, and had a lot of nice good black hairstyles coming out of the East, Brooklyn, New York, and a fade and so forth, right?
That's still a little bit before my time.
It is. Yeah.
Then grunge came in and just completely uprooted all those big hair bands.
That's it. Yeah. Like hair metal was actually a thing. And I got to admit this, guys, I got to be honest. Hair was a big part of my life. I got long flow. I still got long flowing locks here today. So when I saw the hair topic, I thought it was a fun one just to kind of throw on the table and chew the fat and have a little bit of fun with it here. So,
I've always probably wished that I've had like longer straight hair. And who knows, maybe if I'd stuck with it long enough and get it going, maybe it would have worked for me, but I just never could get past that, the puffy side.
I will admit the bougie part of me, Marty. I know you like some of these stories here. Back when I was on my old ICUC days, I would, it would not be uncommon for me to have my stylist with me around whenever I would maybe travel or go places, so I could have my hair flat ironed and I could have my hair done nice.
Oh man, you were bougie.
Or I could have my hair put in braids, or I could just look all nice.
Oh man, you were bougie. Yes. When John travels for business, John just gets shit done. He doesn't do all of that. Yeah. John just gets it done, man.
I brought my hairstyle
because I got no fucking reason for a stylist. What's he gonna do? Braid my fucking ass hairs? It's about my butt crack's about the only place left where he can got anything to do.
Oh, you still have hair down there, Johnny.
That's why he need a bidet.
That's why you need.
That's why you need a bidet.
When you got deep cheeks, you ain't getting that out of there.
Oh Jesus! AJ just sitting there wondering what the hell.
Whoa, yeah. Sorry, AJ.
AJ understands deep cheeks. He builds them all the time. Fucking
AJ does understand the deep cheeks.
When the cheeks are deep enough, that hair deserves to live. It's in there.
The highlights today are going to be.
If you really want to know the truth, when you got deep cheeks and you shave that shit and it starts fucking growing back, it's growing and rubbing on the other cheek, you got a problem on your hands. You got a big fucking problem. You want to talk about chafe? You want to talk about? Oh my lord, no. You got deep cheeks.
Yeah.
You do not want stubble in there.
Marty?
Thanks for the tips, John. Thanks, man.
You know, I'm saving you some grief, brother, because when you're waiting for that phase of stubble to go away, it's no fun.
Let's get the lifestyle tip up. We're gonna bring AJ back. Let's interview AJ. Let's spend a few minutes getting to know AJ, create some content for AJ. Let's get Nation familiar with our mental performance coach, the deep cheek teacher. AJ, Marty's face. Get me out of here, Jimmy. Just get me out of here.
Yeah.
All right, this one, we're going back. We're going back to something I've talked about before, but it's simple and highly effective. And I don't think anyone that has a challenge waking up in the morning to hear this often enough. Snooze. We talk about not hitting the snooze. Well, what's the simplest way to not hit the snooze? You don't want that phone by your bedside table because you're going to roll over, you're going to hit that button, and you're going to waste whatever it is, 7-9 minutes of your life, whatever that dumb shit is. Take your phone, plug it in, charging in another room. So you got to get on your feet. You got to walk to go turn that alarm off. And then once you turn it off, the time it will take you to get back to bed, you can talk yourself off the ledge, meaning stay on your feet and not get back in bed. Sometimes it just takes a few seconds to make that good decision. So the tip is simple. Get your phone off the bedside table, put it in another room, and commit to getting up and staying up. One simple tip will change the rest of your life. Rock and roll.
One simple tip from John Anderson. Whether it's 7 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever that dumb shit is, as Johnny says, don't hit the snooze button this morning. Our deep, cheap expert from the mental performance side here, AJ Zeglin joining us. What's up, brother? I would expect you not to have heard the first 45 minutes of the show, but it's been just fucking madness this morning.
Okay. Well, if it's anything like the last couple minutes I heard, I can imagine.
We've been talking our honey packets, good for erectile dysfunction. We've been talking about, deep cheeks, yogurt tenderizing your steak, AJ. Right? So if you need to dip your meat into something today, you might want to dip your meat into yogurt this morning, later today. So, just things you can
different methods to beat your meat.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, exactly. So, Nation, we're here hanging out with our good friend, our partner, our colleague, AJ Zeglin, the owner and leader of Invictus High Performance. He's a mental performance coach. He works with athletes, men, humans, to help them sort their shit out. AJ, I thought we'd take 10 minutes here today with you to reintroduce you to everybody. We got a bunch of new listeners. We're creating content. There might be folks who are like, who the fuck is AJ? Who's this handsome young man named AJ Zeglin? So we thought we'd spend a few minutes to get to know AJ. So let's kick it off here. But before we do that, though, how are you, first of all?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, how are you guys?
We're good. We're good. No complaints. Yeah, it's
good, man.
Cold here in Manitoba, but we're good. Yeah.
It's cold, but man, it's supposed to be like -2 or something tomorrow or on Thursday.
To our friends in America, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's still fucking."
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a great thing.
Yeah, it's
March, January. We almost get back to 0. Oh man, that's Celsius.
I'm looking. The sun's gonna come peeking up over the hill here in a little bit. There's not a goddamn cloud in the sky.
I love it. Love it. I love it. Yeah. So AJ, let's get to know you, pal. So where should we start? So you are a high performance mental performance coach.
Yeah. But before that, like I've worked in the field of human performance for almost about 20 years now. So
let's go there. Let's start there with you, pal.
I was an athlete myself, and then when I was done competing, I transitioned into obviously working in the gym with athletes.
Yeah.
And so that started back in the early 2000s. And so I started strength and conditioning. Obviously, the more time you spend in strength and conditioning, the more you make that connection and have that realization and that understanding how much of our performance is mental. So I wanted to be able to better help my clients, the people I work with, whether that was seeing them separately for that, or even just organically, how I was able to build that relationship in the gym with them. So went back to school, switched my degree over to a psychology degree, and then did a master's in counseling psychology. And then started working in both fields, which obviously there's a lot of overlap. They're very interconnected with each other when we're looking at the physical, mental, and emotional.
Yeah. AJ, what I'm fascinated about your journey is that you started out in the gym. You started out, using, the physical tools that we as humans have, muscles and strength and power and agility and all those physical things. But through your journey working with athletes, AJ, somewhere in your journey, the light went on going, oh, there's a high level of mental performance that I could go learn about, which is going to complement all the physical training I had. Where in that journey did that light go on for you, AJ? Was it awareness? Was it talking to athletes? Was it just societal pressures changing and accepting that, wow, yeah, the mental performance does affect how we lift in the gym? AJ.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of it was obviously through my own personal experience. Obviously, every level
I was going to say that. He figured that shit out on his own, man.
Yeah. Every level you rise as an athlete, obviously you face a whole new set of challenges. So you kind of got to navigate through the ups and downs of it, right? There's a lot of peaks and there's a lot of valleys that come with it too, right? So you kind of have this awareness of it at that point. And then when you're working in the gym with guys too, or with athletes or with people, just in general, obviously you're trying to build a great relationship with them.
Yeah.
And then you really notice that the majority of the time you spend talking in between sets, doing stuff like that, people start talking about all kinds of stuff, right?
Yes.
And then, we would joke around a little bit with other trainers and stuff that I worked with, where you're like, geez, as a trainer or a strength coach, it's almost like you're a part-time therapist as well, because you're talking, working with all these people. And then I was like, you know what, you really kind of are, right? So I'm like, why not just lean into this, right? Like, how can I help people better? Maybe can I learn things that will make these conversations that I have with them more productive in between sets, or when they're saying stuff in between sets or sharing things, is there a way that I can better receive that information that's helpful for them? Or, and then it just kind of all grew from there.
Yeah. Marty, Johnny.
I gotta agree.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say that, when you're digging, as an athlete, you quickly find out that it's that if you can figure out how to control your mind, you're gonna move ahead a whole lot faster than everybody else. And it's if you're serious about making progress, you stumble across that pretty early.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I gotta agree with the therapist part, man. I mean, my clients have become like family over the years,
right? And
I know too much about them, and so I see how AJ wanted to take that route of learning more, and now you can tap in and help your clients even more. So I definitely admire that. I would consider doing that too. So you got my mind racing right now, AJ. So
good. Hey, that'd be great.
I think it's funny, Marty, to hear you say it, because in many ways, Marty, I compare you or think about you, in the same breath as AJ. And when I heard AJ was making this decision to become a mental performance coach, it was almost like AJ, because it's like a no brainer for me. Like, well, yeah, duh. Like, it's almost like, why wouldn't you? Because we know the physical performance connects to the mental performance, and in many ways, you're like, it's almost like they should be together, and they should not be separate, right? AJ, what's been the biggest thing that you have been surprised about since you have started your journey in mental performance that you maybe didn't know about before you started owning a clinic and talking to humans about some of the mental challenges that they have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think what I've been surprised about. I can share with you when I was in school, I was actually surprised in a good way.
Yeah.
How similar everything that I learned in the gym was to how similar it was, and how these common threads ran through everything that I was learning when I went back to school for counseling, for therapy, for mental performance. Like they are, you know, you said, you know, they're so similar. They're one and the same.
Yeah.
For every theoretical orientation that you have, or skill or tool that you have on the mental side, there is a mirror kind of version of that on the physical side that we employ all the time in the gym. And, you know, I remember having conversations in the class and stuff, and obviously you're not expected to know stuff. And I remember contributing in conversations in a way, like being like, oh, like this and like this. And I had quite a few profs that seemed like surprised that I was able to maybe make some of those connections, or you know, and I was like, yeah, I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but we actually do the exact same thing in the gym. Like it just has a different term for it. Right.
Yeah.
You know, we on the show here, we've talked a lot about finding that next step and taking that next little step, and how important that is if you can see it and you just take it. And how similar that is to the theory of progressive overload in the gym, where you just like that one little rep, or that extra 5 pounds or whatever it is. Just use that as an example. But those similarities, those commonalities between the two exist everywhere. Like if you're in the gym and you're doing those things, like you already have the toolbox, you already have the tools, the skills, you already have those things. It's just bringing a little bit of awareness to it, right? But you're already set up to like utilize all these different tools or tactics or strategies to improve your mental health and well-being, or your mental performance. So that was kind of surprising. I knew they were related, but when you get into it, you're like, oh, they aren't just related. Like these are one and the same,
interconnected.
You know? Like these are mirror images of each other. And so, you know, the nice thing is when you're working with, obviously I work with a lot of athletes. When you're working with these athletes, some of them just need their attention brought to these skills that they have.
Right.
And when you're able to, it's like anything else in life. It's not really about how much you know, it's how you can deliver it. So you got to know your audience. And when you can deliver it in a way with these athletes that they can relate to, because they've been living in the gym, or they've been living on the ice, or on the field, or on the court, whatever their sport is. And, you know, you're able to make it relatable to them, because you're like, no, it's like this in your sport, or it's like this in the gym. And they're like, oh, okay. And then that connection is made, that light bulb goes off. And then, now they just, you know, have greater chance of positive outcomes and taking advantage of those things.
Yeah.
Rudy, isn't it amazing when you help someone turn on the lights?
Yes.
It's the most pleasing feeling. Like you just see them wake up. It's like you've basically kind of helped them tap into their potential. You've helped them overcome those limiting beliefs. It's fucking amazing. I love it.
Well, and I think so. And AJ, one of the last questions I have for you as we work towards wrapping this up is you took a journey that there's men tuning in right now that are late 30s, early 40s. They're considering what's happening in their life. They're looking at their path, look at the next 5 years, 10 years. And AJ, you made a decision later in life to go back to school to become a mental performance coach. Tell our audience, tell Marty and Johnny again how you arrived at that decision. Took a lot of courage, took a lot of balls, you talked to your family. You're like, okay, guys, I'm putting life kind of on hold now at 40 years old to go back to school. AJ, that takes balls, man. It takes courage. Not a lot of guys would make that decision. Talk about that, AJ.
Like, I can't even actually remember what I was thinking in the moment, other than I just knew that I knew somewhere internally that I wasn't being as useful as I could be. And
I like that.
And I could just feel that, you know, and
you knew there was something more for you, brother. I fucking love it, man. Yeah. And that's so good. So good.
Yes. And I just knew I had more to give. Right. But yeah, obviously, depending what you have going on in your life, there's a whole set of circumstances that come with that. It was really, really, really important to me that not only do I do this, but I do it in a way that it doesn't affect any other responsibilities that I have in my life.
I remember
I also didn't want to be like, I love being in the kitchen making dinner every night. the family to be like, hey, why isn't dad making dinner? Oh, he's doing schoolwork again. Or I didn't want all of a sudden be like, oh, why is dad not at my hockey game? Or why is he not coaching my hockey team this year or doing whatever? Oh, it's because he's at school. So it was, it was a lot of late nights because I was like, hey, everyone's gone to bed. Like the whole house is shut down. I feel like I've tried to give my best as a husband and as a father and as a friend and at my job and everything. Okay, now I got, from like 10 o'clock till midnight or 10 o'clock till 1 in. That's when I'm doing all my schoolwork and getting it all done. That way it doesn't interfere with any of the other responsibilities that I have, because I didn't want it to come at an expense of that. Right. I wanted to add value. I didn't want it to take away from other things in my life that are important to me.
Well, and here's the thing. People got to understand that, you have to, I guess, how would I put it? It's like, if you have to do more to become more. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna put this shit that I got to do on the side, because you're not doing more. You're just shifting what you're doing. If you want more, you must do more to become more. More. Hear the mores in there? Stop fucking putting shit on the side and fucking take something new on. Streamline your time. Say no to the shit that's wasting your time. Stop fucking scrolling. Stop doing the shit you shouldn't be doing, and accept that you're going to do more on top of what you're already doing.
And Marty and
If you want more, you must do more to become more.
And Marty and John, AJ won't say it, so I'm going to say it on his behalf. So I know for a fact that AJ lived those principles. AJ has a special needs daughter. AJ's wife has had some health challenges last number of years or month or so. He's got a young burgeoning boy who's making moves in the world. AJ's got a full-time career. He's got a bunch of responsibilities. And Marty and John didn't bellyache, didn't bitch, looked at his clock, and figured it all out. And guys, I'm sharing it with you because he comes.
That's what men do.
He comes to the show here and he shows like everything is fine. Sometimes I say to myself, Lauren, like, how many hours did the guy fucking sleep last night? It didn't matter. The guy.
But real quick, sorry to interrupt, Keith. Everything is fine.
Yes, I know, but my point is, Johnny, is that AJ just showed up. He's like, I'm making a different decision for my family. He didn't sacrifice his family. And I bring it up because he won't talk about it. But guys, when we want to make changes, there's going to be sacrifice. But AJ's like, okay, I guess the sacrifice for me is I might have to sleep an hour or two less. That means I might be studying at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, even though I got to be at the gym at 6 a.m., even though I got to be at the clinic at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Repeat. So, brother, I wanted to put that out there for you because you don't talk about it. I want to talk about it on your behalf. This guy's a fucking superstar. He's a super husband. He's a super dad. He's got 2 careers, and he comes on our show. Like, guys, there's no excuse to not fucking achieve anything if you want to hear about AJ Zeglin, John and Marty. There you go.
One more thing I think that's beautiful about your story, brother, is so many people say, oh, it's too late. I should have done this bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, so why would you not want it? Let's just say that you assume that you've got 10 more viable years of doing what you're going to do. Why would you not want that 10 years to be better?
Yes.
Why is it too late to get fucking better, for Christ's sake? You know why? Because you're on the fucking couch with a goddamn bag of Cheetos.
Remember that conversation we had yesterday after the show, Johnny?
Yeah.
This is why I surround myself with a guy like AJ Zeglin. Because I know that if I have AJ in my world, I'm in a good place. It's just simple as that. And I'm sorry. I know I'm blowing smoke up his ass with him here instead of talking behind his back. But I know that I'm in a good place because that man has got his priorities right. And as long as I can take some of that energy, I know I'm going to keep my priorities right. So there you go, man.
Well, AJ even came on and said he loves being here because it's the surrounding ourselves with people like-minded, and that's what it's. I mean, that's literally it right there.
Marty, Marty, you got to rock and roll, pal.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say something real quick. How can you say it's too late and that doesn't spark you to have a sense of urgency?
Right?
Yes.
Totally.
You know, how do you say it's too late and still stay complacent? It doesn't make any sense.
100%.
AJ, we love doing you, pal. We love doing you here this morning, man. I got nothing but respect and appreciation for you. I love what you bring to the table every single Tuesday and Thursday into the lab. Final word from you, pal. What do you got to say to us before we rock and roll out of here today, brother?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you. Jeez, that was Got me all pumped up here for the rest of the day.
Well, good. You deserve it. But you do deserve it. You deserve it because I know for a fact, Marty and Johnny, he doesn't get enough of it. He doesn't. He puts his head down and he goes to work because I know him. He doesn't waffle. He goes down, puts his head to work. So no, AJ, you deserve the accolades, and I'm fucking giving them to you today.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? My gut tells me that AJ, he loves to hear it, but he doesn't need it.
Exactly, Johnny. That's
what makes it so fucking powerful.
Right. Yep. No, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I guess a way to wrap that up, something maybe for people to think about, would just be, there's this great saying out there that is, I can't even remember who first said it, so unfortunately I can't attribute it to the original author, but it's that apple trees don't eat apples. And the idea is the gift that you have to give is not for you. It's for everyone else. So, just some people to think about.
Wasn't that from the great philosopher Jonathan R. Anderson, AJ, who said that?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
That's that bald guy, right?
My middle name's not R, so I don't know if you're fucking.
I was trying to fuck with you, man. So I didn't know what
it was. Made some shit up.
Just made it up. So I'm thinking that Johnny's got some kind of metaphor from that, AJ, where because we know he's got to get something with the apple tree. In the coming days, we know there's something coming from John's head about apples. I know that.
It just comes down to you don't eat your own goddamn fruit. That's fruit for somebody else.
And AJ, somebody here just dropped a comment here. I want to make sure you get to know him. Jeremy Cunningham, who's a great listener. Jeremy, I love you, man. Thanks for joining the show. Jeremy's going to be on the show tomorrow. Nice to be introduced to AJ. Great tree quote. Yes, AJ, connect with Jeremy. Connect with AJ over on LinkedIn. AJ, we're keeping you from work, man. You got to go back to work, eh?
Yeah. I gotta get back in the gym. I got the hockey academies in this morning. So
awesome.
One quick question before you leave, brother. How's the deep cheek development training coming?
It's going good. It's actually leg day today. So
there we go, baby.
Some deep cheeks being built later this afternoon.
There we go.
There you go. All right, Zeglin, enjoy your day, pal. I love you, man. You be well. We'll see you on Thursday, okay?
Thanks, guys. AJ. I always appreciate it.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you later. All right, Zeglin's out of here. Marty's got to roll.
Hey, I wish I could stay here all day and talk to y'all, but I can't. I got to get the hell out of here, man.
Hold on. We're working hard. I'm working really hard, Marty, behind the scenes, making moves so that I can help you not go to that Gold's Gym here so we can just talk all fucking day. So just trust me, man. I'm working hard behind the scenes, pal.
I got you, man.
Go get it, brother.
See y'all tomorrow, man.
All right, for sure.
I'm gonna hit you later, Keith.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it for sure.
Yep.
All right. Johnny going for a pee?
It's time.
Yeah, Johnny's going for a piss. I'm going to reset the second hour. Yeah, going to reset the second hour with some dancing. Where's Good Time this morning? Good Time, are you out there? You usually join around this part of the show here. And, hey, listen, we're joining the second hour of the show. Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. I am your super host. I'm Keith Bilous. Over there is Christopher Martin getting in the Jeep, heading off to Gold's Gym here today. Johnny Anderson is just going hanging out in the bidet there, getting himself reset for our second hour. Lauren Greif is hanging out, joining us here in a couple of moments. Man, the first hour, we were going to get into conversations about sexual kinks, but we didn't get there. No, ran out of time. So perhaps we'll put that on the table tomorrow. Lauren's like, what? You guys did not talk about sexual kinks today? No, we didn't. That's tomorrow. But listen, there are 5 sexual kinks that people are really curious about. So we're gonna talk about that conversation. And I do have one more topic too that I want to throw on the table that I'm always looking for good conversations, which is experts are telling us, there's 7 sex questions that almost everyone has, but too embarrassed to ask. But you know what, nation? We're not too embarrassed to have them here on the show. So coming up later this week as well, we're going to get into those seven sex questions that almost everyone has, but is too embarrassed to ask, because that's the kind of conversations we have here on Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. Hey, speaking of, did you guys see the graphic we dropped yesterday? I need to show this to you guys yesterday. So listen, if you're thinking about the evolution of men's conversation, where it started and where it is now here today, let me show this to you guys. So I invite you to check this out. So let's just quickly go through this. So back in 1931, GQ came out. Yeah, baby. 1953, Playboy came out. 1954, Sports Illustrated arrived. And then 67, Rolling Stone. Where am I going with this? Well, then along the way, guys, the men's conversation continued. It continued on print. It continued on radio. It continued on television. It moved its way over in 1986 to a young man named Howard Stern. Jimmy, let's bring Johnny back up there. And then in 92, Men's Journal showed up. And then in 2005, back when I was starting ICUC, YouTube showed up. And then along the way, some guy named Joe Rogan started a podcast called the Joe Rogan Podcast, long form interviews. And then in 2024, a little show called Mornings in the Lab showed up. True story. Myself, John Anderson, C. Marty Fit. We are creating today and tomorrow's conversations for men, modern conversations for men, not Andrew Tate conversations for men. No, we actually like and love women here in the lab. We want to respect women here in the lab. We want to empower women here in the lab. So that's what we're talking about here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. But Jimmy, let's bring in our first guest of today. Lauren Greif is going to join us here in the lab. We got her on both. We got her on both feeds there. There she is. What is shaking, Lauren? How are you today?
Okay, first things first. My last name is Greif.
Great.
There's no grief going on here.
Oh, there we go. So we got Lauren here today. Lauren, don't call me Greif. Greif is here today on the show. Johnny, I've been interacting with Lauren on LinkedIn. She is a fucking beast. She's rocking and rolling, creating content, making moves, shuffling the feathers out there. We celebrated her at the Creator Spotlight a couple weeks back. We're like, hey, why don't you come on the show and hang out with us? How are you, Lauren?
Never better.
Yeah? Where are you joining us from today?
Pardon me?
Where are you joining us from today?
I am in Asheville, North Carolina. So this is my hometown, and it's still standing. So many of you out in Canada may not know about the big hurricane that we had last year, Hurricane Helene. Yes. 53 days, no water, brushing my teeth at gas stations. And
53 days.
53 days.
Whoa. Holy Toledo. That's crazy.
If you get a membership at the Y for $20 for the year, you can take a 5-minute shower. And trust me, they're timing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had no water for 53 days.
53 days.
So let's go there for a quick second, Lauren. So it's funny because we all just have water, but yet all of a sudden you don't have water. Talk about the idea of taking that for granted. How did that impact you and your family and your life? You're like, maybe just even on a bigger question of taking life and taking things for granted when that happened.
Yeah. I like to think that I don't take anything for granted. And yet I was greatly humbled, right? What we take for granted, and of course, so many of us are witnessing what's happening in California, and they are not taking air for granted because many people sadly have maybe lost their homes or dear possessions or things that are happening there, and there's no clear air. The air is all contaminated. And so air, water, kindness, those things, you should not take those for granted, not for 1 second. And so we learned a lot. We learned a lot about people, who's calling, who's checking in, who is making rainwater available, who is at the farmer's market and lending a hand. We actually had people knock on our door from another state and clean up all the tree debris that was all over the streets. We had no idea who they were, and they were just volunteers. So those things are big deals in my book.
Yeah, no kidding. Book. Are you an author?
Pardon me?
A book. Are you an author?
No, I'm not an author. Not yet.
I joke. I say that tongue in cheek because we like to joke about friends that are authors here on the show. Because everybody's an author. They're always the best-selling author.
Yeah.
But here's the question for you. We like to ask everybody this question on the show.
Okay.
What is your morning routine?
Oh, so this is kind of an interesting question because I'm a born night owl, and I had to rewire my brain to become a morning person. And I did it with a book called It's by Habit Nest. It's called the Morning Kickstart Routine. You can buy it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I did this thing for maybe it was like 60 days. I don't remember how long it was. But of course, the trick to a morning is the night before. And I learned that the hard way. And for about 3, maybe 4 years, I wake up at 5:30. I do some meditation, some journal. I like to have my coffee. I like it quiet. I usually light a candle or some woo-woo thing like sage, I'm all into that. I also like to extend my pajama time until as long as I possibly can, because I love my pajamas, and be in my reading chair and just slow roll it. I don't like to go too fast, but on mornings like today, I'm typically at the gym by, 6:45 and crush it. Just bring it on. I'm tired and got some protein in me. So
I love that Lauren bought a book to teach her how to have a morning routine. I love that because humans, I would think psychologically are like, I just don't think we think that way. So the fact that you created this awareness in your head, you're like, I got to get my shit sorted. You drove on down to the store. You're like, okay, I'm going to find a book. And this book, and you found a book to help you create a new habit.
Wait a second. Somebody gave me that book.
Was that like was that like something?
I mentioned it in a mastermind group. I said, this is something that's really important to me. About the Misogi, right?
Yeah.
That one big goal that you're going to do this year.
Yes.
One of mine, this is like 3-4 years ago, was to switch my sleep routine.
What I love about it too, Lauren, is that you did it later in life. Like you did it in your 20s and 30s.
Yes.
Right. And we were talking with AJ earlier. AJ made a big decision later in his life in his 40s. And, you made a different decision later in life, Lauren, where that's typically not something that we would do.
Respectfully, dude, I do everything late in life. I am like the consummate, that term late bloomer.
Yeah.
I'm like a delayed bloomer. And I think that's absolutely fine. I could care less, but it's true. Yeah.
I like that. And when you say you care less, it's because you have the maturity behind you. And like Johnny talks about, you're like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. This is me. This is my world, my life. It's how I'm going to treat it. Right.
I used to feel shame around it because I was watching other people who were younger and now, kind of get their crap together. I also gave up swearing this year. So gave up,
Good for you.
Get their stuff together. And I was like, how'd they do that? Well, never, write that off.
Yeah.
It's something I wanted to do. If it's important enough to you, as I typically say, if it's important, you'll prioritize it. What you prioritize gets done. End of story. Full stop.
Well, a lot of times, because I kind of share that same thing with you. I was a late bloomer, and I always make the joke I'm running about 5 years behind, the average. But the bottom line is that when those people that, like for me, I had to work hard to kind of get up to speed. Those people that it just everything came to them, they fizzled out. And I kept on going.
That's a myth. Nothing comes to anyone. We all do have talents and gifts. And I get that, right? Some people are gifted in sports. Some people are gifted in writing. But I don't think that anything just kind of comes. I think it becomes exercised, and then we slowly develop it. And then it looks easy, right?
Well, and some people have to work out a little less, and because they didn't develop the habits, having to work at it more, they tend to fizzle out a little faster.
I agree.
Lauren, tell myself and John a little bit about Portfolio Rocket, and talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. So Portfolio Rocket is my company. We are heading March of this year will be year 5.
Wow.
And Yeah, it's another late development, if you would say. So I started this company at 55 years old. I'm 60 now.
Good for you.
And I left I created it out of the sheer frustration that I was having with watching job seekers in the marketplace. I had been a career recruiter. I had climbed the ranks. I landed and, was working at the so-called, Olympics or Harvard of executive search, and came to realize that everything that was being, advised, shared, advocated for was leaving executives at the mercy of somebody else's decisions.
Interesting.
Right? There was no agency of their own to really design and have a structure, this is very important, around how to go about accessing what's called the hidden job market, which is where jobs are not posted, which is really 80 to 85% of the marketplace. So for all those executives who are on job boards, good luck, because guess what? Not only was it crowded before AI, with AI, it's a nightmare. And so I use this comparison and an analogy actually to portray what is really happening. Because if I tell you only maybe 1% at most of executives will get through an applicant tracking system, that has a context, but here's the real context. That's the same percentage, that's the same chance, that 1% of you finishing your chapstick.
Lauren, my assumption is executives or high-level CEOs or senior-level humans aren't applying for jobs. They're being recruited. They're being found. The doors being knocked on. Is that the case, Lauren?
I mean, they are at times, but again, as a career recruiter, I know this. There's a slate of candidates that you're going to bring to your client. A slate. Nobody's like trying to work their agenda for your agenda.
Right.
Their job is to make a placement. And if they're making it with Keith or with John or with Paul or with Susan, good on them, right? Their job is speed to market. Their job is to make sure that candidate moves fast through the system so that they can have another churn. And so we focus in on executives over 40, and most of them, in many cases, are still going about their job search like a landline, right? Because it's much harder, I'm not going to lie, it's much harder to build a network than it is to press a button.
Okay, so let's go here. So Keith and John are this big morning show. We're connecting with men around the planet, building a massive network of men. There's guys waking up right now. They're in their 40s. They're considering a career shift.
Yes.
What are you telling that guy right now, Lauren? What are you saying? Get off the line. Let's joke with my brother Johnny here, who's still got his fax machine next to him over there, and he's looking for. And John has never had to go get a job before. John his whole career has been as a self. He's proud of the whole idea of he's a self-made man. But there's a guy waking up right now who has a landline in his office, and he's wondering how he's going to take that next step in his career. What are you saying, Lauren?
Well.
Oh, she has one, Johnny. She does have one.
Look at that.
I love it. That's very hard. So what do you say to that guy? What do
I say to that guy? Well, first of all, I'm just going to make this very clear. I am not here to convince anyone. Your job has to be coming from your desire.
Yes.
You have to drive that ship, right? We will help you get there, but let go or be dragged, and we're not dragging.
Yes.
So the first thing I would ask him is, obviously, why is this important to you, and how important, right? Rank it on a scale of 1 to 10. And then the question is, now you're in a job search, but what I really want to know is, what problem are you here to solve? Right? Mm-hmm. What problem are people hiring you for? Because an easy problem is going to be replaced by AI. A harder problem, that's where you come in.
I'm very curious about this because there's again, there's guys my age, Johnny's age, that are thinking that we have less value than we had today because of AI. Where I am saying, I'm 52, and Johnny's a couple days older than I am. I am saying guys like John and myself, Lauren, even yourself, we have more value today than we did yesterday because of our knowledge and that human knowledge and human experience. And if you can,
what does it mean to me? Knowledge, experience. I'm your your hiring manager. I'm the person who has a great responsibility. You're going to be in front of my team.
Yes.
You're going to be handling a budget.
Yes.
You might be the face of my company. So now I want to know, okay, like let's get real granular. What's in it for me?
I'll tell you what's in it for you. I'll tell my experience. So I got all the knowledge.
What does that mean? Everybody has experience. If you're 50, now you need to package that experience.
Right, but not my. So again, if we're doing a role play, not my experience, so John's experience. Because what I do know now is that knowledge gains equal. We all carry, the smartest brains in our pockets. We all got ChatGPT. So knowledge is now the great equalizer. But John's experience of being in North Korea or Keith's experience building a company and selling it, like that experience is independent to me or John. That's what I'm coming to you as the recruiter. And you're going, okay, I see how John can be the face of my company. I see how John overcame adversity in North Korea.
That's not up to me to connect the dots for. You need to spoon feed it to me because I'm playing recruiter, but I'm not a recruiter anymore. What I'm saying is, I'm seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, same 20, 30 years, same, I have, I've worked at this company, I've worked at that company. Now I really want to know with maybe some metrics or some storytelling. So why is that
so it's almost like
why is that a differentiator?
Yeah.
Is it like you're almost like the director of an orchestra and you've got all of these different instruments and you're saying that you need people to give you the exact information so you know which direction to pitch it to the right instruments to play?
Exactly. If think about it in the context of LinkedIn, right? If I get out there and say, have a great day, it's like,
wah, wah, wah.
Who can't say that? Everybody can say that. Why do you think the content game is so challenging? Because it requires you to actually share value fast in a way that is unique to you, that somebody might be able to remember. Maybe they would repost it. So you're playing a game of differentiation. You're playing a game of understanding, maybe even without a job description. That's the key here. You can follow a manual. I have this qualification. I have this qualification. So does everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else thinks that they're qualified. But why are you above and separate from somebody else? I don't mean above, superior. Why are you differentiated?
That's interesting. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, Bilous, John Anderson, and Lauren Greif joining us here, the CEO of Portfolio Rocket. We are here hanging out with Lauren here this morning. Johnny, I know you got a rock and roll, pal?
I do, yes. I actually got an interview with some people across the pond.
Beautiful. So, Jimmy, we're going to Johnny, great show here today. We'll be back here this morning with you.
Tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, I think you said see you in the morning.
Yeah, well, no, see in less than hours.
Wait, John, I just need to tell you something. You should be doing voiceover work.
Yeah, I've been told that a lot.
There's something to it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Johnny, get out of here. Johnny, I appreciate you, man. Good conversation. A lot of fun here today. We'll see you back tomorrow morning on the loop here. John Anderson's going to get out of here. I'm going to wrap up our chat with Lauren Greif. Greif.
Nice to meet you, Lauren. Pleasure to meet you.
You too.
All right.
Day, guys.
All right. So Johnny's getting out of the lab here. Lauren Greif's going to hang out with her a quick minute. We're going to walk out here in a quick second before we bring in our next guest here, Jeff Felton. Jimmy. So Lauren, how can Business Athlete Nation connect with you, find you, and do some work with Lauren Greif?
Well, I mean, we do a lot of different things. We have a number of programs. I also am an avid content creator, and thank you so much for participating and being so supportive and all that good stuff. And I think that's a real thing, like content love and commenting. It just makes you feel good. And I'm very clear on that. So that's always a wonderful add-on. But I think that the thing that I would be most grateful for is being able to support somebody in their journey so that they land faster and earn more. So that's really what we do. We help executives land faster, earn more. We know that the marketplace is always competitive and nobody likes to stay in a job search for any extended period of time. And we want to do it in a way that is not only fun, but you have a system and a repeatable way to do this, because we know that probably not going to be in this next job forever.
Yeah. Lauren, where can they find you? Where can folks find you?
Oh, on LinkedIn at Lauren Greif. You can find me at my website called portfoliorocket.com. And every week I release a new podcast on my podcast called Career Blast and a Half. And so you can always go ahead and listen and hear the latest and the greatest. We really bust through a lot of outdated, hence the phone, outdated career advice.
I love that. Lauren Greif with me here this morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Lauren, what a great conversation. Will you come back and hang out with us again? I really feel like you need to be for the first hour experience with myself, John and Marty, and we might just pull some unpredictable topics to put on the table to have you join the chat. You know, you're a seasoned human being. You've been around the bend a few times, like myself and Johnny. I'm sure you have a little bit of experience and wisdom that you can bring to the conversation as well.
You know what? I really enjoy doing these shows. I will put out there, I've been podcasting now for a little over 2 years. It's been great. Our show is doing fantastically well. We've brought on some amazing guests, some big names like Yasmin Ali, Chris Do, and a number of other, LinkedIn celebrities, as people call them. But we also bring in a lot of authors. So always appreciate your listeners, and thank you for having me as a guest.
Awesome. And producer Jimmy, Lauren has missed the invite to Uncle Keith here, so I'm sure one day Uncle Keith and John and Marty might have a chance to be on Lauren Greif's podcast. Yes. Lauren, I appreciate you. And Lauren, before you go, I love seeing your content in LinkedIn. I love engaging with you on the platform, and I appreciate you. Come back and hang out with us again sometime, okay?
All right. Thank you. And Canada.
Oh, Canada, baby. The 50.
Oh, Canada.
That's it. All right. Lauren's going to get out of here. Jimmy, before you bring in, what's that, Lauren?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. So, Jimmy, we're going to walk Lauren out. We're going to bring in Jeff in just a quick second here. David DePasquale, I see your comments. Anderson is a truly inspirational man who I follow on multiple platforms. Well, I don't know about that. All kidding aside, I love John. I got to know John over the last year with Marty, and there's a strong brotherhood here. And I'll tell you guys, I spend 2 hours, an hour and a half every single day with those men, and strongly fallen in love with those guys. They've made me better. They've made me a better man every single day. The things we talk about, the things we put out there, and the things that we consider. And David, I agree with you, man. He's full of inspiration, and he's certainly reminds me of the discipline that we need to have every single day to be successful. But Jimmy, let's bring in the next dude who's waiting in the green room, Mr. Jeff Felton. What's going on, Mr. Felton?
Hola, how are you?
Oh, I got you muted up. I'm good. How are you, pal?
Are we good?
We are good. Yeah, good to have you here this morning. How are you? Where are you joining me from today?
South Carolina.
Oh, so we had Lauren down in North Carolina. We just go a little down the highway there. Now we're in South Carolina with Jeff Felton.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. Small world. Where are you?
So I'm up here in Winnipeg, Canada. You know where that is?
It's in Canada. It's above us.
The 51st state. I'm your honorary governor, the Uncle Keith Bilous here of the 51st state here. We get the biggest morning show in Canada and creating the biggest morning show in North America for men. Good morning there, FCTV. I see you there. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Listen, if you're just tuning in, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to help you guys get your ass to bed. I'm hanging out with my new friend, Jeff Felton. We celebrated Jeff last week in the lab on the Creator Spotlight. I think it was Sean Blanc, was it, who came in to celebrate you? And Sean came in around this time. He's like, hey, I got a dude who did some awesome stuff. I was like, oh, what did he do? He's like, he's an email marketer. Am I correct?
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, I met Jeff, and Jeff just fucking rocked my business. Yeah, I listened to everything he said. We went on your profile there. I'm like, fuck, I might need to have Jeff work with me too. But Jeff, before we get into it, brother, tell me what your morning routine is, Jeff Felton.
Well, I have a 3-year-old, so my morning routine is a little chaotic. So
what's the 3-year-old's morning routine, Jeff Felton?
Gosh, chaos. That's it. It's just chaos. There are a few non-negotiables for me.
Okay.
One is coffee. I brew coffee manually every morning. It's kind of one of my rituals that gets me going. And the other one that's really kind of become a non-negotiable for me the last few months is meditation. I tried meditation for years and it just never worked. It never stuck. And something kind of clicked a few months ago, and it's kind of become the thing that I look forward to the most in the morning. It gives me like 20, 30 minutes to just kind of get my head in a good place. And I look forward to it every single morning. So I don't really have much in way of routines. That's about it.
I'm intrigued by this, Jeff. So I'm a huge fan of, the moment behind the moment and then going even further underneath that.
Sure.
So was there a morning when your little daughter the chaos was crazy and you said to your wife or you said to your own mirror, damn it, I got to meditate tomorrow because I got to get my shit sorted out. Like what got you to that point where you're like, I need to do something because something's like, and you consciously created that awareness to slow down.
Funny enough, part of it came from attending Sean Blanc's 2-day event.
Hey, Sean, you caused Jeff to become a meditator.
You're back. He's actually my creator spotlight. He's coming back. Just kidding.
Nice.
There were like 3 things happening at once. One is one we're going to talk. Another one is what we're going to talk about later in my spotlight. But there were about 3 things that kind of pointed to, hey, Jeff, in 2025, your brain is your moneymaker. That is the thing that is going to make you money. You need to protect it and invest in it.
Yeah.
And you need to learn how to be more present in the moment and give yourself space to think and move and create. And so meditation just it started this time. It kind of started with just learning how to observe. Like I would sit here on this couch. I would look at this painting, and for 10 minutes, I'd turn my phone on Do Not Disturb and just look for things I'd never noticed before in the painting. And I would do that for about 5 or 10 days. And then it just kind of gradually turned into, now I'm going to close my eyes and just like try to, let my thoughts go and just kind of observe my brain in a sense. And so it's really kind of becomes a sweet time that like just kind of quiets everything around me, helps me get focused on what am I doing, and just give myself a little bit of room to think.
I'm finding that enjoyment, Jeff. So my morning routine starts at 4 because we get the show here at 7 Central Time, so 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So I get up at 4. I am thoroughly loving that first hour of quietness.
Oh, it's the best. My
coffee and my brain, and it's funny, Jeff, because the first 50 minutes my brain is squirrely. I'm all panicky. I'm anxious, and I'm anxious, and I find I got to center myself, right? And I find by the second cup, I have centered myself.
Yeah. I get that. I'm the same way. Yeah. I mean, I get up at 5:30 and because that's like the only time I can have where nobody's asking me to do anything.
Yes.
I'm not responsible for anything. It's just me. And so, I'll sit there with my coffee. I'll meditate. I have something else I do every morning called the Immaculate Grid. It's a little baseball
cool
game that I do every day.
Yeah.
But those are that's my time to just kind of chill, center myself, and I don't usually have a second cup of coffee, but usually by the end of the first cup of coffee, I'm ready to start working.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, do you work from home or do you go to the office to work or work remotely?
Yeah, I work from home. Yeah.
Yeah, which is with the little daughter, that's got to be really nice too, right?
Yeah, it is. She goes to school. She's in 2K.
Okay.
So she's gone most of the day, which love her, but it's nice.
Yes, of course.
So.
Of course. So before we get to the creator spotlight, I want to spend a couple minutes. I know Sean Blanc celebrated you and talked a little bit about your business from Sean's point of view, but let's get a chance for Jeff to talk about your business from your point of view for our audience. What do you do?
Mostly email marketing consulting. So I spent like 5 years as a freelance writer.
Okay.
Which I still do some writing from time to time, kind of a little bit more choosy with projects, but spent 5 years freelance writing, and the kind of shifting from project to project and getting, really dug into this business and then dug into this business and going, from project to project was really exhausting. So last year I made a shift to focus a little bit more on like a consulting kind of role. So I mostly work with people one-on-one to help them build up their email sequences or their newsletter, refine it, kind of tweak it for more conversions, that sort of thing. I have a background in writing, obviously, and so that kind of frames, mostly how I work with people. It's a lot of strategy on the writing and the psychology and, buyer behavior and that sort of thing. So that's really kind of what I do. I've also got a couple of courses that I put out. Sean referenced one of my courses. But yeah, it's, email marketing for, people who have a course or some sort of coaching service is really kind of who I serve.
What's fascinating to me, Jeff, when I met Sean to talk about your business is that, we live in a world where we're always looking for the next sexy, shiny thing, right? It's okay, what am I going to do next? What's going to be the next thing to move my business? Yet, and with all respect, it's like, I got to go back to just the email marketing thing. Yeah, because it works, right? Because it works. And it's got to be one of the oldest digital marketing tools that we as marketers always go back to the toolbox, because what do we as human beings do? We open our email, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I used to know a bunch of stats about that, but the stats are just ridiculous about how many people, first thing they do in the morning is open their email, or how many times people check their email every day.
Yes.
The unique opportunity that we have, especially for people like me and maybe you, and Sean, is email is also a place for deeper connection, for kind of personal,
because you're sitting in somebody's box. Like if I sent you an email right now, it's sitting there all day, and you might scroll through it and see my name again. You might see it later tomorrow if you don't get to it. And it's literally, if you think about physical metaphors, right, Jeff? It's like I literally have this envelope sitting in your hallway, and you're walking by it and seeing Keith's name over and over and over. And we don't think about it that way, but that's really what it is, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, I love when people take like a really hyper personalized approach. And obviously, like, you can't truly personalize everything to 100, 10,000, 100,000 people, but you can write in a way that it feels like whenever I'm reading it, you sat down and wrote it to me. And if you can do that, then email marketing it's just a gold mine. Yeah.
So then, this is fucking great. I love this. Then let me ask you this question, and you know where this one's going to go. 2 letters, AI. A few years ago, ChatGPT was released, and you as a writer had your whole world upended. But then you've used the word here in the last few minutes, which I love, and it's the word called psychology. It's one thing to write. It's one thing to stitch words together. But there's a whole other skill set of stitching words together to generate a psychological response on behalf of the reader. And that is where I think your skill set comes in when you weave these new AI tools into it. Am I correct, Jeff?
Yeah. AI will never be able, well, I say never. AI cannot really inject emotion or feeling into writing. And there's something inexplicable about when you read something and it just, you feel it, right? And I don't, to my knowledge, AI can't really do that yet.
What's interesting? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that, I don't know. I mean, you can always tell when something's written by AI or when it's written by a real person.
It's interesting to hear you say it, because I was working with somebody yesterday who's doing some writing for me. And good morning, Cosmic Vision. I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining me and Jeff Felton here this morning on the show. And she wrote this comment, Jeff, and I said, this looks like it's AI. She goes, no, Keith, it wasn't AI. And I said, I believe you. I do. I believe you. I said, but that's also my point, is that it was too perfect. I wanted to see some of the humanization of it, which was maybe the way that I did the ... at the end, or maybe the way that I used the word that I wouldn't normally use when, like, I'm not trying to write perfect prose. I'm actually using, like, in many ways, Jeff, I'm wondering if we as humans want to see you spelt with U instead of YOU to know that it came from me as a human instead of AI. You see what I'm getting at, pal?
You know, sometimes I was just thinking, sometimes I will inject things into my writing that on purpose, that are not very good. Like I'll say like ain't gonna in my writing, and like nobody would ever suggest doing that in your copywriting, but it's just in a world where where everything is like perfect and you know AI and perfect prose, like you said, when it's raw and feels like the way we talk, because I say that in real life, I say ain't gonna in real life, so like if and that's how I feel about writing your emails to people, is that they shouldn't be perfect and polished. They should be, write it the way you talk. I know that's kind of common marketer, copywriter speak these days, but it's so true. Write it the way you talk.
I don't think it's common enough though, Jeff. I don't. Okay. And because I think that we as marketers and writers quickly just go to the tool set. We get so caught up, we copy and paste. And then we recognize that there was a moment we missed by making it more personal. So I love the fact that you're like, no, I fucking erase that last sentence and I replace it with ain't gonna. Because readers go, well, wait a minute, Jeff didn't send that with AI. And just those few little words made it personal. And I'm wondering, pal, that as we're as we as marketers and business leaders continue building our businesses, if humans are going to, in many ways, going to revert back to wanting to see more of the imperfection.
It's I was thinking earlier in this conversation about how things are cyclical and even trends, right? Like 100%. I mean, you see like clothing trends and things that are popular now where 10 years ago would have been like laughed at,
Yeah.
But they were popular 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I've long had a thought, probably since 2013, 2014 or so, when smartphones really kind of started to become popular and everybody started to have one. An iPhone was, really gaining popularity. And I started to feel overwhelmed then, like 10 years ago, by technology and always kind of being on alert, whatever. And I had the thought then, I wonder when it's going to happen that this is going to trend away, basically, where we're going to trend back to dumb phones, And so, I think that eventually, the AI is cool and it's sexy and it helps you move fast right now. And sure, maybe it's like some people are really able to leverage it to, do good things. And I'm not like a hater of AI. I totally see the value of it, but I do think there's going to come a time where, it becomes cool to,
be human.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird, huh?
Right. Maybe use a pencil and actually it's funny, right? Because just play with me here for a second. In many ways, you'd wonder if you started like a legacy business, which was, hear me out here, pal, stamps, envelopes, pencils, and paper, and started actually mailing folks that content, what kind of response you'd get.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like you wonder if it's so like, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm writing a personal letter to Jeff. I'm going to sign it. I'm going to drop it in the mail and it's going to show up at his house. Like I'm almost curious as a marketer, Jeff, what kind of response that would have.
I mean, I might write this down and go do that later.
Like it's kind of curious to me, right? And there's something kind of powerful about that because you might find, and I'll be honest with you, Jeff, that's where we're having success with this show because this is a vintage show. This show is rooted in the 80s and the 90s, FM radio, Howard Stern. But there's, and I got a 17-year-old kid and a 14-year-old daughter who are leaning back into those vintage times, right? Records and vinyl and going to a concert and putting their phone away and going, Dad, we didn't have our phone out because we wanted to be present. Fuck, who are you, man? Like, wait a minute. That's not, I'm the old guy shooting video of everything. So it's interesting, right? That we maybe are in some ways going back to, and Lauren's on the phone, Lauren's on the show there, just showing us like an old school phone, right? So maybe there is some magic in reverting back to what we used to do. Yes, good time, like the antique stores that we still have on shop corners, right? So But Jeff, let's keep it rolling here, pal. I don't want to keep you much longer than we have here for today. We celebrated you in the Creator Spotlight, one of our great segments we here do on the show, which I love because we find people on the platform, celebrate them like yourself, surprise them and say, hey, somebody worked with you, love the work that they did, and they wanted to celebrate you. So you gave us somebody, and I think she's a she, right?
Yes,
She's a she. Yeah. So we have somebody on the show here. I just want to make sure I had the right person up on my link here. So we have somebody who's, looks like she's from the capital region of Denmark, which maybe is going to be in the negotiations with your country very soon. Will be becoming part of their country one day. So, and actually my country too. So, hey, maybe we'll all become part of the one country one day. But Jeff, we are going to celebrate somebody here today. I'm going to tease this a little bit. So she's a creative partner. She's a founder. She's all about co-creating the brand, the business, and the dream. And she's the author of the Welcome to Creative Club. So Jimmy, I got the horizontal screen set up here. Jimmy, you get the vertical. We're going to do a quick intro because this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends with our guest, our friend Jeff Felton, who we celebrated last week. The drum roll, Tommy, for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is Pia Mailot Leichter. I think I said her name correctly. Jeff, why are we celebrating Pia today?
Leichter. I actually had to ask her the other day how you say it. Leichter. And I said, wait, I need to get on the show and actually know how to pronounce her name right.
That's awesome, Jeff. Thank you.
She's always just been Pia to me. So.
Thank you for doing the homework. So why are we celebrating Pia today here, Jeff?
So Pia and I we've been pals on Twitter for a couple of years.
Fun.
And always just kind of casual. Like we've gotten on Connect calls before and just kind of chatted casually as friends. And she launched a book. She's been promoting her book for about a year or so, and it just launched within the last month.
Nice.
I signed on as an early donor, like last summer, I think, as just donate a little bit, and here you can get one of the free initial copies, right? And I was like, cool, yeah, like I'll support my friend Pia. It's no big, it is, love to support her and what she's doing. I think it's really cool, but really wasn't all that curious or interested in her book, to be quite honest. And I've told her this. So then I got the book and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to read it. And within 10 pages, I was like, this is the best book I've read in years.
Really?
Yes. It's fantastic.
Why? What was so good about it, Jeff? Because, and I'm asking this because you and I love this because I love how honest and vulnerable you are, because you're like, yeah, I bought the book to support her. And typically when we buy a book, let's be honest, we often don't read them. They sit on the shelf and then we don't get to them, or we do get to them. But you picked this thing up and you started enjoying it. What did you enjoy about it?
Immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, her style of writing is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of mixes in, like, it's really raw, really vulnerable. But the kind of the common theme throughout this entire book is, how do I say it? Everyone's creative, right? Whether you think you are or not, you are. Right. And so it's just this kind of deep dive, deep exploration of, and most of it is like woven through lessons she's learned in her personal experiences. Even, I loved the example of when she discovered that she was creative, and it totally was like not this situation that you would think, oh, that's her being creative, but it was, right. Mm-hmm. And that's when she realized that we're all creative, and so I think it's just the way that it's written. It's very vulnerable. It's, goes through a lot of her life situations and the way that she's learned a lot of these lessons. She's a coach now. So she, has done a lot of work to overcome a lot of the things that have happened. And so now she, does a lot of that for other people too. So.
Awesome. Pia, we are celebrating you here this morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Jeff Felton has put your name on the table, Pia. So what we're doing is we're celebrating you. And as a result, we know there's somebody in your orbit, Pia, who's moved you. Maybe like you've moved Jeff. And we know there's somebody who you're like, I would love to recognize this human. So what we do here in the lab is we want to invite you on the show, Pia, to pay it forward and say, hey, Keith, I want to celebrate that person and make their day. So, Pia, you are officially now invited to Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends to come hang out with us and celebrate somebody in your orbit to make them feel good, do a little promotion, and move them along the way. And, Jeff, maybe I'm buying Pia's book to get some reading. I love the fact to talk about creativity, because I saw a piece on Anthony Robbins about 6 months ago, and he talked about who are you at your core, Jeff? And the video moved me. The video actually moved me to tears, frankly. It was a 7-minute, 16-minute video, and I cried. Why? Because I realized in that video who I was at my core, and I'm a creator. I always thought I was an entrepreneur, business person, but as I watched that video and some of the questions that Robbins asked, and I really looked deep into myself in my own mirror, I'm a creator. And I loved it because and it took it, Jeff, it was like at 50 years old. I'm like, holy smokes, that's what I am. Right.
Yeah.
And so to hear you relate to her story, I'm getting some of those same feelings because, I when I built my last business, I built it through the mindset of a creator. And when you can kind of have that awareness, it's very freeing. So I love to hear what you said about Pia's book.
Yeah. And what I said earlier about, there were like three things that kind of happened at once that pointed to the same thing. Sean's two-day event, Pia's book, literally like the first 10 pages, first chapter or two of Pia's book. And then, something else I was working, doing some consulting with a friend who was kind of helping me out a little bit. But Pia's book also encouraged, and it's also kind of a blend of like, the science of the brain and why the brain works the way it does and why you need to give it space and why you like, why we're wired to create and, that kind of thing. And so it really encouraged me to, I guess, treat my brain differently and to, start taking care of it and start like nurturing it. And like, hey, like there's a lot going on up there. There's a lot of potential up there if you just like give it some space and just like cultivate it. Right.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you found some space in your life to find that awareness.
Yeah.
Because it sounds to me like once you found that awareness, it changed much for you. And I say that because we all go through our different journeys in life. And I've met a lot of humans during making my show here. And I love hearing when I see somebody's light go on, right? Because like, there's a confluence of activities that are happening and something had to change for me. And that awareness caused change. I love that because when we can observe that to me is when magic happens. You know what I mean? Because other than that, we're just kind of walking around aimlessly, kind of, I don't know. But it was like, oh, wait a minute. It's like you step outside of yourself. Like, yeah, my brain's got shit going on. I got to take care of it. Right. So that's powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff.
Yeah. Yep. And most people in the world aren't doing that.
No, that's exactly my point. Is that we just go, and then go to the next day and go to the next day. And we don't slow down to have that awareness. Right. So, and it's taken me my whole life to figure that shit out. Right.
Got time for one more story?
100%. Yeah.
So was working with a client on kind of a weekly consulting basis, and she's a marketer.
Yeah.
She's, type, I guess maybe type A, I don't know, Enneagram 3, like super like go, got to do, checking the boxes, crank it out kind of person. And, we were meeting, we were talking about some email sequence that she was putting together. And, she was like, okay, all right, like running through her action items of, all right, here's what I got to do. I got to write this email, write this. And, this. And I said, all right, hey, before you do that, I know you have a tendency to just sit down and just crank things out without really thinking about it. I said, I would love for you to stop, don't write, turn your phone on Do Not Disturb and go for a 15-minute walk, then come back and write. And she said, it felt so good to just give myself room to actually think about what I'm doing again and not just sit down and do because it's, frankly, like when you sit down and just do things like that, a lot of times you end up like smushing crap through a cheese grater.
Yep.
And you're not really giving yourself time to think about what you're actually trying to accomplish. So
there's a nugget what you just said, because I don't think enough of us humans schedule time to think, because we schedule things to do because we're so conditioned, Jeff, to do, quote unquote, to sleep, to gym, to meet, to eat. Well, hold on a second, to think. Oh, so I create awareness throughout my day going, okay, I could go to this next project and just keep go. No, wait a minute, I got to fucking think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll pause, I'll either lay down, I'll have a little nap, or I'll go for a walk, I'll hang out with my dogs, but I purposefully slow down so I can think.
Yes. Yeah. We've been conditioned to think that's like giving yourself time to think is unproductive.
Yeah,
it's the most productive thing you can do.
It's the same thing when we tell ourselves, what do you mean Jeff is having a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon? Why the fuck isn't he in the meeting? Oh, you didn't know that Jeff was up at 4:00 in the morning, worked until 12, is going to work tonight until 10 o'clock tonight. He's got his family and shit. Yeah, he's taking a nap to recharge his batteries. Like we don't, and that's again the mindset I'm trying to have. I'm trying to invite people to think about here differently on the show. It's okay to nap. Go have a sleep. Go honest to God. I'm going to get a text later today. Hey, Keith, yeah, I had a fucking nap today. Yay, Jeff.
I've never really been a napper, but I get the point.
Yeah, it's slowing down, right? Because we're so conditioned to go super fast. We know there's power in sleeping. We know there's power in mental awareness. We know there's power in creating that awareness, right? So, but all right, well, listen, we're going to wrap it up, my friend. I appreciate you coming in here today. You know, you got to come back here in the future. Come back in the early part with me, John, and Marty. We have crazy conversations. Yeah, today we talked about marinating meat in yogurt. Yeah, so it depends on where you want to dip your meat. We talk.
Yogurt.
Well, we have conversations that are quite unpredictable here on the morning show. So now that you've been here, yes, I'm still waiting. So Cosmic Vision, so am I. We're getting there, pal. We're getting there. So listen, nation, if you guys just tuning in, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, Mornings Live with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to get you guys out of bed. We go live Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, John Anderson, C. Marty Fit, producer Jimmy on the buttons. Our guest, Jeff Felton, here today, dropping in to do a creator spotlight. Jeff, this is your first time checking out the show, or did you know about it last week when Sean celebrated you? I wouldn't expect you knew about it.
Well, yeah, so Monica, she mentioned it because I did some work with Monica.
Oh, Monica Rashavi. Yeah.
Yeah, she mentioned it kind of offhand that she was on your show.
Yes.
She was really excited about it. And then whenever I saw Sean last week, then it put together like, oh, that's the same thing. Keith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my first introduction to your show. Yeah. Cool.
Well, I'm really grateful you're here. Hopefully you'll tune in the future. Hopefully you'll come back in the future. We're going to celebrate Pia, and I might come knocking your door to help me with some email marketing work along the way to help me build my business here.
All right, let's go.
Awesome. Well, listen, nation, on behalf of myself, Keith Bilous, C. Marty Fit is on his way to Golds. John Anderson's over there. Producer Jimmy on the buttons. Walter, Tommy in the community. We got Cosmic Vision in the comments. We got David DiPasquale, Adam Holroyd, Good Time, Rick Kletke, Enzo. On behalf of everybody, we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right here, YouTube, LinkedIn. Have a good one, guys. I'm getting out of here. So is Jeff. Jimmy, let's get us out of here, pal. Jeff, hang tight a second.